The tile in the entryway feels colder today, like the ceramic is mourning what was taken away. There were two distinct dents in the rug by the wall, where you'd kick off the world and let the day fall. Now the fibers are rising, they're straightening out, erasing the pressure and erasing the doubt. I'm watching the carpet forget where you stood, as if it's deciding that empty is good. But I'm counting the inches of bare polished pine, where your heels used to click in a rhythm with mine. It's a lopsided balance, a weightless mistake, a stillness so heavy it's starting to ache. You carried your anchors away in your hand and left me adrift on this island of sand. The doorstep is level, the symmetry's drawn, and I'm losing my footing with your shoes gone. I remember the salt crust you'd leave on the floor, tracing white jagged maps from the lip of the door. I'd complain at the mess, but I'd secretly trace the path that brought you back home to my space. Now the wood is too shiny, the finish too deep, it's a mirror reflecting the secrets I keep. I'm walking on tiptoe, afraid I might mar the perfect blank desert of where you aren't anymore. Movement is easy when there's nothing in the way, but I'd trade this clear path for a stumble today. I want the clutter, the dirt and the scuff, because living without you is clean and it's tough. I'm staring at a vacancy shaped like your stride, with nowhere for all of this movement tied. The rug is just wool, the floor is just oak, the spell of the coming home finally broke. No boots by the bench, no sandals on the lawn. I'm learning to hover with your shoes gone. The calendar page is a white, empty field, where the harvest of us is finally yielded. The Saturdays stretch out like unpaved roads, heavy with all of the stories untold. I used to wake up to the shape of your hand, a logic that only my skin could understand. Now the morning is hollow, a wide open wound, and the radio's humming a different tune. I've got no plans now, nowhere to be, since the week turned back into a lonely me. No dinner at 8, no drive through the pines, just a house full of echoes and blurred out lines. It's a terrifying freedom, this lack of a chore, to have nothing to wait for, no one at the door. I remember the way you'd lean into my side when the world got too loud and you needed to hide. Small moments, the salt on your skin from the sea, the way that you looked when you whispered to me. Now the grocery list is a short, bitter thing. I don't buy the fruit that the memories bring. The keys on the hook have forgotten your touch. I never knew nothing could weigh quite this much. We spent all our time building castles in the sand, tracing the life that we'd hold in our hand. But the tide came in early, the tide came in fast, and the someday we promised is part of the past. I'm learning to breathe in a room with nowhere, looking for you in a sea that is bare. I've got no plans now, nowhere to be, since we turned back into a lonely me. No dinner ready, no drive through the pines, just a house full of echoes and blurred out lights. It's a terrifying freedom, this lack of a chore, to have nothing to wait for and no one at the door. The future was bright, but the sun has gone down. I'm just wandering in circles with no plans now. No reservations, no see you at 5. Just trying to keep this ghost love alive. The clock keeps on ticking, but I've lost the how. I've got nothing but time and no plans now. The world didn't tilt and the ground didn't shake. There was no sudden snap or a visible break. I just noticed the way that you adjusted your stride while I was still tethered to the turn of the tide. You were looking at horizons I couldn't yet see, untying the knots that had bound you to me. It was a quiet departure, a slow motion blur, while I stayed the person I thought that we were. And you kept moving on like the edge of the light, chasing the morning while I held the night. A steady migration, a heart in midair, leaving me standing in the how and the where. It's a beautiful distance, a clean kind of grief, to watch you find sun while I'm just a leaf. The seasons are shifting, the current is strong, and I'm still at the start while you kept moving on. I remember the salt on the back of your hand and the way that we trace our own lines in the sand. You used to be anchored, you used to be still. Now you're a shadow on the crest of a hill. I'm cataloging moments you've already outgrown, like a collector of seeds that were never quite sown. Every step that you take is a mile in my chest as you wander away to the north and the west. There's no medicine, no anger or blame, just the terrifying fact that we aren't the same. I'm a photograph frozen a moment in tea, while you're the whole ocean, restless and free. I'll stay for a while in the warmth of the tracks, watching the way that the distance attracts. You're a speck on the sky, you're a bird in the dawn, and I'm finally seeing that you kept moving on. Moving on. My left side feels light, like a limb gone asleep, as I navigate hills that are jagged and steep. There's a phantom kinetic, a pull in my wrist, where your fingers would weave through the spaces they missed. The gravel is crunching, a lonesome refrain, a rhythmic reminder of sharing the lane. I'm bracing for jokes that you'll never quite tell, listening for silence where your laughter once fell. And the concrete is cold, and the distance is wide, with nowhere to call this longing inside. It's a slow motion map of a life on my own, the first heavy mile that I walked alone home. Truth is the bone. I'm just learning the weight of a walk alone home. I pass by that fence with the peeling white paint, where the scent of the jasmine is heavy and faint. You used to stop there just to pull back a vine and press a green leaf in the palm of my mind. Tonight I just stared at the tangled up mess. The garden is growing in wild distress. The world doesn't stop just because we are through. It just gets much quieter without any you. I'm not looking for shortcuts or ways to be fast. I'm savoring how long a heartbreak can last. 'Cause if I arrive and I turn the deadbolt, I'm admitting the ending. I'm feeling the jolt of a house that's forgotten, the sound of your name. The porch steps are shallow, the hallway is long. I'm humming the ghost of a half-finished song. I finally made it, but I'm still on the road, carrying the only thing left of the load. I walked alone home. The sky turned a bruised, impossible move tonight, the kind of color that used to make you stop in your tracks. I reached for my pocket to capture the light, to send you the beauty that the rest of the day lacks. But my thumb hovered over a ghost of a name, and the impulse withered like a leaf in the frost. The sunset is burning, but it isn't the same when the person who sees what I see is the person I lost. And the worst part of after is the quiet that follows the spark, the way a great secret feels heavy when kept in the dark. I've got a head full of wonders and a heart full of hell, and 1,000 small stories with no one to tell. Just a witnessless life drifting out into space, missing the way that the news used to land on your face. I heard that old song in the grocery store, the one with the bridge that you said was a masterpiece. I turned to the side to remark on the score, waiting for your laughter to bring me a moment's release. But there was only a stranger in a heavy wool coat, and the comment I had stayed stuck in my throat. It's the trivia, the nonsense, the guess what I saw that leaves me so hungry, that leaves me so raw. It's not the big tragedies that break me in two, it's the small golden moments that belong only to you. A joke about the weather, a bird on the sill, the world is still talking, but I'm standing still. My mind is a library of things you would love, with no one to share all the riches thereof. So I'll whisper it into the steam of my tea. I'll tell it to the walls, I'll tell it to me, that you'll never believe it, that isn't it grand? The words fall like water into the sand, deep in the silence where the memories dwell. I'm overflowing with no one to tell. I haven't swapped the tumblers or the heavy breastplate. I haven't moved the bolt to lock out the fate. Sometimes I hear a rattle when the wind hits the porch, and I'm standing in the dark, holding a memory like a torch. I remember how you'd struggle with the groceries and the mail, how you'd lean into the wood when your strength began to fail. That little metallic click was the heartbeat of the hall, the sound that told me you were here through it all. And your key still fits in the mouth of the door, even if you don't live in this skin anymore. The grooves and the notches, they still know the way to the center of a home that's grown hollow and gray. It's a dangerous mercy, a sharp-edged grace, to keep a jagged piece of you in this quiet place. The world says it's she tied around the ring, afraid. Piece of blue from a long-forgotten spring is sitting in the tray where the loose change gathers dust, turning slowly into something made of longing and of rust. I wonder if it's heavy in the pocket of your jeans, or if you've thrown away the map of what this hallway means. Do you have a different porch now, a different set of stairs? While I'm still here, counting all the almost and the anywheres. I should probably change it, I should start a new life, cut the connection with a cold silver knife. But as long as that cylinder can turn in the frame, it feels like a prayer that is whispering your name. I'm keeping the entrance exactly the same. I'm not waiting, I'm just leaving the light on the floor, just in case you remember the swing of this door. The metal is cold, the handle is lit, I'm still here, and your key still fits. The silence didn't crash, it just arrived like a frost, settling over the names of the things that we lost. It started in the spaces between. How was your day? Until the words just got heavy and drifted away. Now the quiet is a fabric, it's thick and it's wide, with a million I miss yous tangled inside. I still see your mouth moving in the back of my mind, but I can't reach the frequency I'm trying to find. And the world didn't end when we stopped talking, it just grew a forest where we used to be walking. No more midnight debates, no more call when you're home, just the hollow vibration of a heart on its own. It's a beautiful static, the soft, my foot ache like the sound of the snow falling onto a lake, where two different stories now bound in one market, frozen in the second that we stopped talking. I remember the kitchen, the low hum of the stove, and the way that our secrets were the only treasure we trove. We talk until the stars turn to streaks in the sky, before hello was a burden and forever a lie. Now I rehearse conversations that'll never take place, while I study the lines of your ghost in the space. It's strange how a voice can be the soul of a house. Now I'm living in the shadow of a quieted mouse. I'm still holding my breath like a sentence half done, waiting for a hey that'll never quite come. Is it easier for you, this lack of a sound, or do you also feel the weight of the words on the ground? It's scattered like leaves that we never did rake, the promises kept and the ones we couldn't make. Nothing was shouted, nothing was screamed, we just ran out of air for the things that we dreamed. The signal is dead, the spark is gone dark, I'm just a whisper left in the park where we stopped talking. house has a fever, a dry static heat, and the air is as thick as a crowded street. I'm sitting in the center of a white velvet hush, far from the noise and the morning rush. I remember when your voice was a low, steady wire, tied to my spirit and feeding the fire. Now the connection is frayed at the seam, and I'm drifting away in a wordless dream. It's a weight in my grip, like a cold glass bone, the heaviest thing that I've ever known. No lightning struck, no thunder rolled, just a story left hanging, half bought and half sold. It's the scream of the zero, the math of the end, a message I'm too broken-hearted to send. The clock gave a shiver, the stars were violent, but the space in my palm, my phone stayed silent. I looked at the charger, a white plastic vine, waiting for a pulse to come back down the line. We used to be tethered by a digital thread, by the good nights and misuse and things left unsaid. Now the battery is full, but the meaning is drained, like a garden after the sky is finished being rained. I'm tracing the edge of the metal and light, wondering who else you're calling tonight. They say silence is golden, but it's lead in my chest, a permanent pause in a heart at its rest. I'm not checking for news or a change in the weather, I'm just checking to see if we're still tied together. But the signal is flat and the frequency's gone, and the dark is just waiting to turn into dawn. No typing bubble, no blue tinted glow, just the slow, steady lesson of letting you go. The glass is a mirror, the circuit is bent, I finally know what the nothing meant. My phone stayed silent. My phone stayed silent. The station is breathing a cold metallic sigh underneath the bruised purple of a midnight sky. The platform is empty, save for the wind and the grit, and the ghost of the bench where we used to sit. I remember your breath, a small cloud in the air, the way that the frost caught the gold in your hair. We were leaning together, one heart made of two, before the tracks pulled me sideways and away from you. And I'm taking the last train alone tonight, watching the suburbs bleed out of my sight. The rhythm of the wheels is a slow, heavy beat, like a pulse that is searching for something more sweet. It's a beautiful shiver, a romantic blue, to be traveling through shadows that look just like you. The carriage is hollow, a theater of bone, on the long silver journey of the last train alone. I'm pressing my forehead against the cold glass, watching watching the skeletons of the old factories pass. I remember the way you would sleep on my chest, when the swaying would lull all our worries to rest. Now my shoulder is light and the sea feels too wide, with a vast silent ocean churning inside. The conductor is calling a name I don't know, as I'm counting the miles that I still have to go. We used to buy tickets for a town with no name, back when the flickering world was a game. But the signal has changed and the light has turned red, and I'm riding on iron toward a goodbye unsaid. The sparks on the wire, the stars falling down, burning the path back to our little town. Next stop is nowhere, next stop is the end. I'm losing the lover, I'm losing the friend. The whistle is screaming, the lights have all flown, and I'm pulling into the station on the last train alone. We met between the lockers after class, sharing secrets, saying this will last. You held my hand like it was forever, said no one else could love me better. But forever felt so easy back then, before your eyes found her instead. Now you're walking past me like I'm no one, standing with her in the same old sunlight. We used to laugh in these empty halls, now I just echo through them all. You were my first, my everything, now I'm just a memory you don't need. In a love we wrote in teenage dreams, you chose her and left me unseen. I see your jacket wrapped around her pledges, yeah, I notice every little thing. The way you smile like you did with me, like I was just a phase you didn't keep. I replay every word you said, wonder where our story went. Now you're walking past me like I'm no one, standing with her in the same old sunlight. We used to laugh in these empty halls, now I just echo through them all. You were my first, my everything, now I'm just a memory you don't need. In a love we wrote in teenage dreams, you chose her and left me unseen. Was I just practice for your real love, a chapter you were done thinking of? Cause I'm still stuck on every line, what you've already said goodbye. You're holding her like you held me once, like I was never enough. You were my first, my everything, now I'm just a broken melody. So I'll sit alone where we used to be, letting go of you and me, in the halls where love felt so true. I'm learning how to forget you. Clouds are moving like heavy, unread books above the valley where we used to trade those quiet looks. The blue is deepening into that sharp metallic edge, the one that used to drive us to the very mountain ledge. I remember how you'd squint against the dying of the day and find the exact moment when the orange turned to gray. Now I'm standing in the field and my neck is getting tight, trying to hold up the ceiling of the calling of the night. It's the same roof of heaven, but the floor is falling out, leaving me with nothing but this hollow whistling doubt. The atmosphere is heavy, it's a physical weight, like the oxygen is mourning for a soul without a mate. A beautiful expanse, a terrifying height, a million miles of nothing wrapped in a velvet light. The stars are just witnesses to a heart they've outgrown under the same sky. But God, I'm alone. I saw a plane's red blinker cutting through the northern arc, and for a second I felt a familiar sudden spark. I went to tap your shoulder to say, look at where they're going, but the cold space beside me was the only thing worth knowing. The wind is a thief, stealing the heat from my skin, finding every gap where your arm should have been. The horizon hasn't moved, it's a jagged perfect line, but it doesn't belong to us, it's just brutally mine. They say the universe is expanding, pulling everything apart, and I can feel the distance stretching out inside my heart. If light takes a billion years to travel from a star, how long will it take to reach you? Wherever you are, the dark is complete now. The grass is gone black. I'm waiting for a signal that isn't coming back. The same moon, the same cold, the same story that never gets old. Just me and the blue without any you. Same sky, alone. The dust settles differently in the corners of this room, where the air used to bend just to make space for you. It's a strange kind of gravity, a pull toward the floor, like the house is still bracing for the swing of the door. I find myself humming a tune I don't know, just to muffle the sound of the years as they go. The clock on the mantle has a stuttering heart, trying to keep us together while we're falling apart. And I've kept your name safe like a bird in a cage, a word written down on a translucent page. If I say it out loud, does the magic go thin? Does the world let the cold and the quiet back in? It's the ache of a bridge that was burned at the start, the beautiful debt that I pay with my heart still safe, like a breath I'm too frightened to take. A ghost in the water, a ripple in the lake. A ripple in the lake. There's a ghost of a fingerprint on the glass of the frame, a smudge of the person who once knew my name. We were a language that no one could speak, with a fire so high and a spirit so weak. Now I'm reading the sky like a map, but your face finding the lines that the clouds can't erase. The silence isn't empty, it's heavy and wide, like a whole hidden ocean is trapped here inside. I don't want a version where the colors don't bleed. I don't want the harvest, I just want the seed. I trade every better and every someday to be back in the wreck before you drifted away. Still safe in the narrow, still safe in the blur. To the girl that you were, to the ghost that you were. I'm holding the light of a dead-ending star. The ceiling seems higher than it ever was before, and it's a 3-minute journey from the window to the door. I used to think this apartment was a tight and narrow squeeze, when we were tangled in the sheets and trading breath with ease. But the walls have pushed back, they've expanded in the night, trading all our shared warmth for a cold and hollow white. I'm sitting on the edge of a mattress like a shore, staring at the side that doesn't dive it anymore. And our room feels big, like a canyon, like a plain, a vast and open country that is echoing your name. I'm a tiny lonely figure in a landscape made of blue, trying to fill up all the corners that were once occupied by you. It's a widescreen sorrow, it's a panoramic ache, a giant empty vessel that I'm terrified to break. The ceiling is a sky and the floor is a dig. Now that I'm alone here, a room feels big. I remember when the laundry was a mountain on the chair, and the scent of your shampoo was the only thing in the air. We'd bump into each other in the walk-in closet light, apologizing with a kiss in the middle of the night. Now my clothes are hung in rows with a terrifying space. I need an orderly garden that has replaced your face. I can hear my own breathing, it's a loud and lonely sound, in a place where your laughter used to keep me on the ground. They say that getting over is about reclaiming ground, but I'm just to have the air between us be a little less rife with the ghost of the way we used to be. I'm turning off the lamp, I'm listening to the dark, watching for a shadow or a solitary spark. But the air is just air and the wood is just wood. I'm lost in the old ways that I misunderstood. One heart in the center, our room feels big. Our room feels big. The condensation has long since dried away, leaving a ghostly ring on the wood where it stayed. It sits by the window, catching the afternoon glare, a porcelain witness to a ghost sitting there. I haven't moved it, I haven't even tried. It's the only vessel left for the things I hide. Just a chipped handle and a stain at the rim, where your smile used to hover, now the light's gone dim. And it's more than an object, it's a prayer I can't quit, tracing the edge where your lips used to sit. A small ceramic heart in a house of stone, proof of a warmth I no longer own. It's a beautiful burden, a holy kind of grief, a permanent anchor for a love that was brief. The world is moving, but I'm colorblind, staring at the echo of your cup left behind. I remember your hands, how they'd wrap it for heat, while you tell me your dreams in the morning retreat. The steam would rise up like a veil between our eyes, masking the part where we'd say our goodbyes. Now the kitchen is sterile, the kettle is cold, and now I'm clutching a story that's already told. I pour you a life if I thought it would stay, but the tea's gone bitter and you've gone away. Sometimes I reach out to wash it away, to clear off the counter and face a new day, but my fingers won't close and the water won't run, because once it is clean then we're truly done. I'm preserving the dust, I'm guarding the stain, anything to keep me from feeling the drain. Just a white shadow on a shelf in the hall, a tiny monument against the wall. Still there, still yours, I'll leave it right where the memory finds the hollow beauty of your cup left behind. The silence in the drywall is a sound I'm learning now, a heavy hollow pressure behind the eyes and on the brow. We used to be a conversation that never had a seam, falling into sleep like two rivers in a dream. But the language started changing, the vowels turned to stone, until we were just two bodies, separate and alone. I didn't see the border when we stepped across the line, from everything is ours to everything is mine. It wasn't a crash, it was a slow motion leak, a softening of the spirit, a failure of the weak. We grew into different shapes while we were lying still, like the slow, cold movement of a shadow down a hill. No one slammed a door, no one shouted out a name, but we just looked at one another, and we didn't feel the same. A quiet disappearance in the middle of the day, that's the bitter, simple truth of how we lost the way. I'm looking at the imprint of your elbow on the chair, the only part of you that's still hanging in the air. We spent 1,000 afternoons just breathing in the heat before the very ground beneath us started to retreat. Now the rhythm of the evening is a jagged, broken thing, without the steady comfort that your presence used to bring. I'm reaching for a habit that's been hollowed at the core, staring at the vacancy where us was once before. Maybe we just ran out of things to offer up as proof. Maybe there's a limit to the shelter of a roof. We were trying to be anchors when we should have been the sea. Now there's nothing left but salt between the you and me. The light is turning gray, the neighbors are asleep. The secrets that we traded are the ones I'll always keep. But the path is gone, the grass has grown. I'm standing in the center of a world I've never known, right where we lost the way. The oxygen in here has started to taste like old paper and sleep, a heavy recycled kind of quiet that I'm forced to keep. I remember when the air between us was a wild open thing, full of the scent of the pavement and the salt that the tide would bring. We used to look at the street through a gap in the glass, predicting the lives of the people we'd watch as they'd pass. But the seal is gone tight and the pressure has changed, and the world on the other side looks jagged and rearranged. It wasn't a slam or a break or a sudden sharp sound. It was just the slow way that the silence claimed all of the ground. We lost the horizon, we lost the cool reach of the night, trading the breeze for the stagnant and flickering light. It's a beautiful suffocation, a romantic kind of wall, built out of the not-nows and the nothing at all. The view is a fossil, a memory that's been on the ledge and beat his swings at the pain, trying to reach the warmth while it shivered in the rain. I wanted to reach out to unlock the brass and the wood, to tell it that I'd let it in if I only still could. But the hardware is frozen, the metal is fused to the frame, much like the way that my mouth has forgotten your name. I'm living in a bell jar, a museum of breath, watching the ghost of our intimacy starve to its death. They say the windows are eyes, but this one is a shield, guarding a wound that refuses to ever be healed. If I broke it today, would the wind recognize who I am? Or am I just part of the house, like the door and the jam? The sun is a smudge, the moon is a blur. I'm losing the memory of who we both were. No more look at that, no more feel the cold, just the weight of a story that's already been told. Our window closed. Our window closed. The thermostat is holding at a cool, indifferent line. The air has lost the friction of your breathing next to mine. I remember how the ice would shift and rattle in your glass, a tiny silver warning that the workday had to pass. I checked the time by the way the light would hit the kitchen tile, and prepare myself to meet the heavy pressure of your smile. Now the dust is sitting level, undisturbed and bone dry, in a room that stopped asking the where and the why. Expectations gone, like a fever that has broke, leaving only the smell of the charcoal and the smoke. It's a terrifying likeness, a weightless kind of hell, to have no one left to listen to the secrets I should tell. Just a piece of cold and unrequested steel, in a world that's lost the habit of how coming home should feel. The table is a desert, the symmetry is faded, and for the first time in the dark, no one waited. I passed the neighbor's window where the steam was on the pane, and saw two silhouettes laughing at the coming of the rain. It felt like a punch to the soft part of my throat, to see the easy rhythm of a life still afloat. I used to be the anchor, I used to be the shore, the person who was breathing on the other side of the door. Now I'm just a guest in a house that I bought, living in the wreckage of the lessons I was taught. Patience is a muscle that's starting to decay, since the target of my longing decided not to stay. There's no use in the listening, no use in the light, when the only thing The hello is a fossil, the how was it is gone. I'm just a person moving on. No one waited. The nerves in my skin have forgotten the hum of the way your voice made the molecules run. You had a way of rounding the M and the E, like you were wrapping a bandage around a decree. Now I'm just a body, a collection of bone, occupying a space that is strictly my own. I caught my reflection in a dark window pane, and I couldn't remember the root of the pain until I realized the air hadn't shook with the sound of the person who kept me from leaving the ground. And it's more than a silence, it's a physical lack, like a ghost in the throat that I can't swallow back. It's the loss of the accent, the loss of the heat, the way you made a common word feel complete. I'm a titleless book, I'm a map with no town, a heavy set secret that's starting to drown. The world is a roar, but the soul has been bled, caught in the famine of my name unsaid. I saw our old neighbor out watering his lawn. He waved a hand quickly and then he was gone. He didn't call out, he didn't even try, and I felt a strange panic beneath the blue sky. I'm terrified that if I don't hear it soon, I'll evaporate under the light of the moon. If you want the one to define who I am, I'm just a loose wire, I'm just a door jamb. I'm a habit you broke, I'm a rhythm you lost, a patch of the garden that's taken by frost. Here's you sitting like iron on the tip of your tongue, the last of the oxygen deep in your lung. Or did you spit it out like a bitter old seed, leaving me here with this bottomless need? The streetlights are buzzing, the evening is cold. I'm a story that nobody wants to be told. A vibration, a ghost, a word left on the coast. I'm fading to gray with my name unsaid. The rhythm of the pavement has a hollow, singular thud. Since the river of our always turned to winter, frozen mud, I used to have to shorten every stride to match your pace. Now I'm covering the distance at a strange and frantic rate. The wind is pushing through the gaps where your arm used to be, a cold, invisible reminder of a new autonomy. I'm passing by the bakery, the scent of yeast and salt, and for a second my momentum comes to a grinding, aching halt. And it's just me walking through the blur of the afternoon, underneath the paper thin daylight hanging moon. No one to point at the remember how the rain used to be a shared and silver roof, the way we huddled under nylon, the only living proof. The puddles were a game we played, a dance around the edge, before we jumped into the deep and went over the ledge. Now I'm staring at my shoes like the strangers on a quest, in a jacket that feels cavernous against a lonely chest. The traffic is a river of people heading home to us, while I'm just tracing circles in the diesel and the dust. I don't need a map because I know every stone, but I didn't know how heavy they could feel when walked alone. The destination's vanished, the way has lost its bite, when there isn't any home to reach at the end of the night. One set of footprints, one breath in the cold, trying to let go of the hand I used to hold. The sidewalk is endless, the sky is a gray stocking. No we left in the world, just me walking. Just me. Just me. The muscles in my face are a map of a place where the borders have shifted and changed. There's a tension in the jaw, cold, heavy law, like the furniture's been rearranged. I used to move light like a spark in the night, caught in the pool of your grace. But the bloom is gone gray, and I'm losing the way to the shape that I wore in your space. It wasn't a thing I could lose or could bring, it was a language we spoke with our eyes. A sudden soft bloom in a darkening room, a truth that didn't need any lies. Now the corners are weighted with all that we stated, and the silence is miles and miles. The sun's coming up, but I'm holding a cup of a morning that's forgot how to smile. I saw a child laughing at a kite in the park, and I felt a strange ghost in my chest. A memory of skin, of where we begin, and the way that your head used to rest. I tried to join in, to pull back the chin, to mimic the warmth of the sun. But the gears are all rusted, the hinges untrusted, the work of the joyful is done. It's a muscular grief, a stubborn belief that the light will return to the bone. But the architect's gone and the blinds are all drawn, and I'm living in this house all alone. I'm practicing fine in a jagged straight line, but the curve is a mountain to climb. Maybe it's resting in the crook of your arm, safe from the weather and safe from the harm. A locked away thing, a broken offspring. I'm still here in the after for a while, tracing the ghost of how I forgot myself.